So I try to explain a little bit about this huge project what we are finishing but not finished yet. And I think it is not time and place to explain for this audience about the values of Mayas. It was explained already before, and here are professionals, therefore is no need, I suppose. But just some words about the background of this project. Here I mention some facts about the situation in Estonian Mayas. And as you can read here, about 70% of Estonian Mayas have been trained. And how far the influence of drainage is extending to neighboring areas, it is also not very clear yet. And according to some investigations, mainly made by Mati Ilomets, in 1990s we had more or less in natural conditions, not more than 300,000 hectares of Mayas. And for a long time it was talk, or it was a position of governmental organizations that peat is a renewable resource, but now, good heaven, it has been changed crucially, and the new view on this topic is now becoming prevailing. It means that territorials are important. It means that when we are using for economical purposes the Mayas, we use certain territories, we spoil those territories. And therefore, we must take care just starting from that point of view. But if we want also to use Mayas for economical purposes, and I think in Estonian conditions that is reasonable to do, because we have still a lot of Mayas, and just to sit on Torf, not use it at all, totally, I think it is not a very clear decision. But for that, we must find a certain compromise. We must establish what territories, what Maya territories, we shall keep for conservation and what we shall leave for economical usage. But to do that, we first must know what is the state of Mayas, of every Maya. But we have a lot of Mayas, and therefore they all really must be inventoried. It is a huge work. And not only inventoried, also data gathered must be also collected in modern way to some database, and must be connected with geographical information system to make the information available. And when we have done those work, that means inventories and databases and GIS, then we have basis, or then we have information to make a decision, to make an agreement, very wide basis, what Mayas we shall left for so-called free usage, of course in frames of admissible constrictions, admissible limits, and what will be excluded from every economical activity. Therefore, the project tasks were formulated here, they are presented, and first of all, we must elaborate the methods, methodology, how we shall organize and how methodologically this inventory must be done, and how the nature conservation values will be evaluated, what should be the criteria. Second, we must then do this inventory, this evaluation process. And of course, as already said, we must compile the respective databases. And one criteria also what is very important here is to evaluate the representativeness of every Maya site or Maya area, because it is connected very much with international responsibility in frames of European Union, so as some Maya habitats, what are very common in Estonia, they are almost lacking in our neighboring countries. Or the same is true for several species, not to say about several Maya complexes. And on this basis, we must elaborate certain guidelines or recommendations, what we should implement in practice or what we shall follow in our practice. And of course, one task is to promote the public awareness about values of Mayas. And this kind of project cannot start from empty place. There have been before several Maya studies, large-scale Maya studies, and of course one of the basic studies from what all large-scale projects nowadays, until now, really in Estonia starts. It is Estonia vegetation mapping, was started already before the Second World War and was finished, the fieldwork was finished about 1955, and the results were published in monograph written by Professor Lazimer. And there are several very good and large-scale studies made by Estonian geologists. Those studies were concentrating mainly on the peat resources, but the data are very valuable also for evaluation of the Maya state and the Maya conservation value sometimes. And the very direct project what precedes to our project, that was a Estonian Wetlands Conservation Management Strategy project, what was implemented in 1997. That publication, I think you have seen, or you have that also. But in this project of 1997, that was supported also by Norwegian government via World Bank, but it was concentrated on the areas substituted to amelioration renovation projects, and only about 1,300 Mayas were then investigated. Now about project organization of this current project. As you know, the responsible organization that was Estonia Fund for Nature, and in cooperation with Environmental Board. Here I also pointed the persons of executing team, but beside of those 5 persons named here, also many other persons were participating and collaborating. Then already about database format and maps. I am not very competent myself to talk that about, but only some guidelines. If you have later questions, then Erik Leibak is also sitting here in the room, and you can ask technical details from him. We used 2 different worksheets. One was for open Mayas or real Mayas, and other for forested Mayas or Maya forests. But anyway, the key question or core questions, they were common for both worksheets. Besides, they had both also several specific questions about the situation and structure of communities there. The characters estimated or assessed by both those data worksheets. They are listed here. No, there were common or general information about the location. Also, by GPS, the coordinates were fixed, and the sites or the areas were qualified according to the Estonian vegetation habitat classification and also by habitat directive types. And then the human impact was assessed, changes in vegetation layers, and nature conservation value according to several criteria like plant community sites, floristical or even aesthetical value, hydrological, faunistic, and so on, state or parameters. And all those values were summarized to some way, in integrated way, as a total value for nature conservation. And on the other side of both worksheets, there was a Estonian flora list, and the simply vegetation descriptions were just made underlying the species names, and also putting some simply pole scale values to evaluate the abundance of species. And for basic map was used the Estonian basic map or field map, or fieldwork map, was a basic map of Estonia in scale 1 to 20,000 scale. And fieldwork in 209, 210, as it was said already before, early in the beginning, the project was planned to last 3 years, but due to different difficulties, it was shortened afterwards only to 2 field seasons, but is of course extremely short period with such a huge work. But the situation was rescued by numerous specialists or experts participating in field work. Altogether, according to these worksheets, 210 experts and 42 so-called associated persons were participating. And in the course of project, all in all, 19,000, almost 14,000 Maya areas were inventoried. In the first study year, a little bit more than 4,000, and in last year, almost 10,000. Of course, before the vegetation season, some short trainings courses were organized, and afterwards we must confess that those training must be a little bit more basic or last longer, just to train people a little bit more. But anyway, it was as it was. Then when those databases, worksheets were all gathered together in the Estonian Fund for Nature, of course, the digitalizing of data started, and that was also a huge work because parallelly to this digitalizing, Erik Lebak was all the time also checking checking the errors and improving them. Of course, if so much expert of having different background, having different qualification, their errors are we cannot avoid errors there. And altogether, almost 14,000 data sheets were added into the already existing database. And also there were summed up those those data from the previous project. GIS was developed on the MapInfo professional basis, and it is connected, or it will be connected, a joint merged together, or integrated really, integrated with other respective databases kept by Ministry of Environment and so on, where they are needed. Here are some maps. That is a map of inventoried Mayas. Red color, with red colors are marked Mayas with highest conservation value and so on. It is just to show that we really covered totally Estonia, and here in southern Estonia the Mayas are so small that there is only the cluster of very small dots, but there is a huge number of Mayas, hundreds and hundreds. And shortly about some results. Of course, results are not really, the analysis is not totally complete yet, and several improvements have been done just in last days. And of course, for this English report, we cannot even do all what we want to do. And in the beginning, it was even planned so that we shall have the report publication already here so that you can everyone have it, but we didn't manage it. And but anyway, it must be published somewhere in course of coming 3 or so weeks. But yes, anyway, we can already correct some figures what are largely used or taken as very fixed in relevant literature. For example, Maloro, who is presented here, according her, more than 22% of Estonia territory is covered by peat. And that is right. Maloro has published data that are correct. But there are the confusion starts from that different institutions or two different attitudes to say what is the Maya really. As you know, in Russia and also in Estonia, according to the long tradition, Maya has qualified only the peatlands where the peat layer is at least 0.3 meters thick. Geologists have even another criteria. It means the peat layer must be at least 0.9 meters thick. But peatlands as such, then they are all areas where you have even 1 centimeter of peat. But if we take into account this criteria that Maya, that is a peatland with peat layer thickness at least as minimum 0.3 meters, then the Mayas comprise in Estonia only 5.5% of territory. And the remaining 17%, they are actually covered by paludify grassland, peatland forest, different degraded peatlands, and so on. Very interesting is also to compare the changes of areas of different Maya habitats in course of last half century. If we base on the data published by Lazimer in 1965, but this data concerns the situation some 10 or 10 years earlier. And the other fixed point that is, or fixed data, that is what presented by Matti Ilomets together with co-authors. And the third point or third comparison status, that is what we achieved now on the basis of our project data. And you can see here there are quite interesting figures. Very striking is differences in area of poor France. They have been destroyed or they have disappeared in huge quantities, about 10 times is less their area now than it was in 50s, let's say. Also, rich fens have been, area of rich fens has diminished very much. But here is striking that if, according to Ilomets, the area of rich fens is 5,000 hectares, then according to Tatau, tagasi läheb. Then according to present inventory, the area is 20,000 hectares. That means 4 times more. And we can discover that kind of discrepancies here more and more. For example, if to see the floodplain fens, they have diminished 83 times in course of, let's say, half a century, and so on, so on. Why is that so big discrepancies? Really, that is very much a question of attitude or methodology. It is obvious that Matti Ilomets has been a very strict man, and he has evaluated the state of Mayas very conservatively. So he has obviously taken as sufficient representatives or representatives of sufficient state only those Mayas what really have more or less preserved in natural state. But according to our point of view, we know all that Mayas are having certain inertia when they are reacting on human activities or human impact. And yes, their hydrological conditions and also plant cover can change, but still the torf layer, peat layer is left, and sometimes those little bit transformed Mayas are in pretty good natural state. Let's say if the open Maya has in course of, let's say, 20 years covered more and more by tree layer, or it has turned to be a Maya forest really, but rather well looking, rather well good state, and therefore we have a position that they should also considered as representing still Mayas. Of course, the other question is what is their conservation value? Also very interesting results about how well are protected Mayas of different habitat types, and what is protection value of those Maya areas what are under the state protection. And of course, how much and what kind of Mayas we have, what have high value but are not protected yet. Of course, from here, directly follow the recommendations, what Mayas to take additionally to the protected Mayas network or to Natura 2000 network and so on. And that was our intention really, or one of the main intentions, just to gather that kind of information. And if this information is available for every official who is obliged to make decisions about what to do with certain Mayas in his region, then it's very simple just to open the database, to open the maps, to look what is the value of this Maya on the talk, and to say that, oh, sorry, that this valuable Maya, we cannot allow your activities there, or could be in opposite way. It is, yes, it is Maya, what about we can talk? Could be even just to open it for extracting peat. We must also conclude already that the percentage of Mayas with low conservation value is remarkably small. And that is good, of course. It means that we are not obliged to push more and more very actively to take Mayas just them under the protection. Surely we must enlarge our network of protected Mayas, but on the basis of very certain Mayas with high value for nature conservation, or those Mayas what are not sufficiently, those habitats what are not sufficiently presented in existing network. Of course, we must take into account also that several Maya habitat types or Maya communities or Maya plant species that are common in Estonia, they are lacking or underrepresented in neighboring countries. That means we have certain international responsibility. And that concerns, first of all, I think, spring Mayas and calcareous species-rich Mayas, and I think also certain Maya complexes where different Maya habitats are presented. Some examples where the rich Mayas are located and how much we have them. Of course, they are located or situated almost all in areas of Ordovician Silurian limestone. Mesotrophic quagmires, they are also quite rare habitat type, but we have still left, numerous left in Estonia. Heath moors, a very special type, or according to terms of Habitat Directive, Fennoscandian mineral-rich springs and spring fens, almost the same what was in the first picture. We must also conclude that from the total area of POG, that means a little bit more than 150,000 hectares, under protection is now about 115,000 hectares. And it means that among the remaining POGs, that means about 35,000 hectares, we can make a selection or a decision how to use them in future. Could be for economical purposes, could be for peat extraction even. And thank you. That was shortly what I can talk.